Hello everybody, NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. I'm not. Just Dom, the darling old man. Some of you might see this occasionally on that social site, Facebook, and see it looks familiar because that's who I am. I enjoy my coffee. But as we go through this video, we want to welcome you to Parks on the Air. We means all of the community of members for Parks on the Air. It gives all of us operators an opportunity to make some real fantastic friends and fellowship and things of this nature across the pond and right next door to the next state over. But what I wanted to share with you, since you're new, and many of our folks that are new have a lot of legitimate questions, but it's hard to get sometimes an answer without having somebody come across a little harsh. Well, we want to try to avoid that. That's why I try to set up my videos, and I apologize for the man mowing the yard, but that's what he gets paid to do, and we've had some rain, so the grass has grown. Want to just hit some basic things, about 30 minutes worth of chat. Please feel free to save it and come back and watch it again. One of the first things we want to share with you, since you are new, we have a section that's called Frequently Asked Questions, and the Frequently Asked Questions is designed to give you some real pertinent, important information about what this organization does, and it's free. All the achievements, the awards that you earn are free. They're a right-click download away for you to save and print and challenge yourself. The documentation, you can again download it and print it for yourself if you want to read it in your easy chair and things of that nature. But there's a lot of information, and in an even 30-minute video is hard to convey. So please take some time to read it, because seriously, it is important. But we're going to touch on some of the basics, the basic things that a lot of brand new hunters and activators are concerned with. Hunters, the first thing we want to share with those of you that are hunting the parks, please, if you can, utilize the spotting page. And when you utilize the spotting page, one of the ways to eliminate accidents of working the same party in the same park on the same band is set it up so that you can spot them. Give them a 5.9 NC or 5.5 or whatever your signal report, whatever your comment is, and hit the respot, put the information in there, and that will tag it that you've worked it so that you should recognize by a little green check mark that it's not a new to you contact in that park. The hunters do not send logs in for confirmation. The hunters may log on their own device, QRZ, their computer. I use N3FJP for all my logging applications at home. Whatever you do as a hunter at home is for you, okay? But the activator, and that's a pretty important part for that activator, must upload their logs to give you credit as the hunter. And as an activator, if you work another park to park, then you will also be a hunter in that status. Again, remember, all activators were very dependent upon them to upload their logs. If you work an activator 10 minutes and then they move to another park and they're on the same band, and boom, you get a chance to work them again, work them in that new park again. If they change from the mode that they're in, sideband, and they're now on CW, you can work them again on CW on that band in that park because it's a different contact. And if they so choose to use FT8 and you want to work them again in that same park on that same band, but they're in the FT8 portion of the band, there you go, work them again. That will give you 3 contacts just for that one person in that one park, or 2 or 3, however many parks they're in. For you hunters, many questions come up. Well, I have parks right around the corner from me. If they're not in the POTA listing, POTA entity for a park, they may not qualify, and there are stipulations. So being brand new, yes, it's nice to have parks real close, but not all of them fit the bill. If you have a park that you're interested in getting, or to see if it qualifies, get a hold of your mapping coordinator for your call district state. Okay, in North Carolina we have KN4XP. In Kentucky, I think, in Tennessee, I think Brent, N4 Bravo Delta Whiskey. And there's a list of all the mapping coordinators in what states they are covering for any additional or deletions of parks. Again, just because it's around the corner from you, it may not qualify. If it's city-owned or county-owned, more than likely not. If it's state-owned, then it's a different story. But that's something that you would run by through an email to your mapping coordinator. And at this point, let me share what everybody that's with Parks on the Air is. They is, oh, you're going to love that. They is a volunteer. They don't get paid for what they do. They don't get paid at the help desk for fixing our errors, answering our questions, guiding us when we're having issues that we don't understand. That's all volunteer folks. Our mapping coordinators are volunteers. There is a group of people, the development team, that many folks never see or hear about, that do the work that allow us to use the different programs to see our achievement levels. The number of parks that we have presently is over 60,000 parks, so it's not an issue of having enough parks to work. Propagation is something that none of us control. East Coast, 40 meters is wide open first thing in the morning. West Coast, 40 meters is loaded with AM broadcast from overseas. So it's not going to be the same across the states when you're traveling east to west, west to east, north to south, or south to north. One of the things that we have to get used to is what bands can we go to and at what time of day following gray line. That's another video. But let's talk about when you're looking at that map for your state and you see all these yellow dots. The yellow dot is a reference point only, folks. It's a reference point only. If that park is 200 miles in circumference, and yes, I'm over exaggerating, but for a purpose. If that park is that large and you have many different areas where you can go activate at, go for it. The yellow dot is strictly a reference point to get you to the park. Keep that in mind. As a hunter, when you look at the map, it's hard sometimes to see where a twofer or a threefer is, where 2 parks or a park and a trail overlap each other, not butt up to each other. Activators, did you hear that? 2 parks butting up to each other but don't overlap is 2 single parks. There is a 100-foot rule on the trails. If you're at the 100 feet from the trailhead, you can operate that trailhead and the park as a twofer. But that's getting into more of the detail as you progress. Being you're brand new, you want to know some of the basic information. What's the best logging program? What works for you? Simply that. I use N3FJP. Polo's out there. Ham K2 is out there. There's so many varieties. You use what you feel is good for you. You know, if you depend on wanting to have the best and the best, what's best for me, 99 other people don't like it. So there is really no best. It's what you're comfortable with and what you can learn and what you can get. When it comes to logging as an activator, okay, I'm not talking hunters, as an activator, you log with whatever program you want. There are many free programs, but remember, you have to follow the guidelines of that particular software, how it works. They do not all work the same, okay? I log on paper with pencil, and I do it that way. I'm not, do not be offended, concerned with people's first and last name and they're in this city and things of that nature. When I'm out making the contacts, I'll learn their names and where they're located at, generally speaking. But I really learn it when I go home and put it in N3FJP on the computer and I start remembering the call sign and the first name and things of that nature. So when you're logging, you log what works for you. As an activator, many hunters may get upset because they don't understand what a pileup is like. You need to go to any activator you hear out there that has constant pileups. Yes, I'm going to brag, I'm one of them. KEA Papa Zulu November is another one. That if you want to see some pileups, or Whiskey 1 Whiskey Charlie, and the list, I'm not trying to be favorite to just top of my head, the list is phenomenal of people that have large pileups. And for yourself, practice this. This is something for you to do. Take that pileup and just start writing down what you hear. You'll probably last 10 seconds and say, the heck with this. Well, that's what we as activators are running into. So that's why you're going to have to learn the style of the activator you're chasing. Some of us will do list. I'm well known for that. Some of us will do areas. I'm not known for that. Some of us will do kilos only. Some of us will do QRPs only. The activator is in control of how they are operating their activation, where they are at, okay? Don't show your butt and get mad because, well, they're just called threes and I'm a four, and then they went to fives and skipped fours. That is something that is controlled by the activator. And there may be times when they say, folks, we've got to go QRT and gone. You're not out there as a hunter with them, so you do not know the circumstances, weather elements, law enforcement, people you may not want to be around at that time of day or location all of a sudden showing up and making it very uncomfortable. Those are things that we deal with as activators in some of the parks that we attend. Antennas. As an activator, what works for you might not work for me. The park that you go to, if you know that that park says no wires in the trees or no spikes in the ground, abide by the guidelines. Abide by the guidelines as an activator, because what you do can prevent people like me coming behind you from being even able to activate there because somebody got upset. Communicate with law enforcement. If they come up to you and tell you you need a permit and you tell them no I don't, and then you get in a peeing contest, nobody wins because they will force you out, but they'll make it rough for everybody else. So we try to work with them. that's just one of the elements that we deal with in our society. Many people don't know what ham radio is about. That's you and me, are the ambassadors out in the field, and you hunters are the ambassadors on the other side. The things that you say, the comments that you make, other people are listening to, so keep that in mind. We've talked about antennas. The best antenna is the one that works for you. I use an ATOS in the car when it's raining or it's cold. I use an NFED up in the tree by KO4FSZ, an awesome antenna. It works for me. I have a TDL in the car. I don't use it. It's overpriced. That's an opinion. I don't find the enjoyment with it. Many others have great success. So there's really no best antenna. You have to look at what you have, what you're willing to use. The same thing in the house. Many folks that have HOAs and they're trying to be able to activate, or not activate, but hunt the parks, and they don't want an antenna outside because they're nosy neighbors. Try something in on the inside with an antenna in the attic if you can. The Faraday cloth that people are using out in the field, try it in your house with a little vertical if you have a back deck or portable area outside the house that looks like a place to grill at. Put something up that's temporary and easily. That's just a little bit of what we do. Now let's talk about across the pond and park to parks. If a station is across the pond and I'm trying to work them, propagation is one of the biggest elements that's either going to make you or break you. You go to the frequency and you listen. If you don't hear anything at all, then it might be dead. But if you hear other stations working them, but you don't hear them, the band may come back to you if propagation changes. That's something, do you have time to wait? And if not, many hunters, that's people sitting at home, don't understand why us activators will take a park to park before the front of the line. And I can only speak for me. I cannot speak for everybody else, but I know what it takes to get out in the field, to drive to these parks an hour, 2 hours, to set up in the elements of the weather, the bugs, etc., etc. And I'm not whining. That's the real world. That's what we do. It cost us to get there. So if they're out on their activation, I want them to be able to at least get the 10 contacts that they need to activate the park. And some people are hit and get. Some people don't even spot. They'll do a rove, and all they'll do a rove that's working 5 parks or more in a UTC date, same 24-hour UTC date. But some folks will do a rove and never spot one. They'll work strictly park to parks and head on out to the next park. There's many facets of this. Hunters, when you first start out, you're going to see the awards page. Go to it, practice it, look at it, get lost in it. In the field where it says search, type in whatever you want to type in and see what it brings up. The thing is there's so much that you can do while playing on the radio and making contacts and getting to know people in such a way that is different than other types of amateur radio operations, okay? It's not a Geritol net. There's a lot of great nets, and then there's a lot of bogus nets out there. I can't determine what you would think is either. The thing is, with Parks on the Air, we have a field day every day. We have an opportunity to work somebody, to check our equipment out, whether it's portable, whether we're vacationing. Folks that go onto the East Coast and go to the beach get a chance to work some of the parks while they're on the beach. They're getting best of both worlds. Same thing on the West Coast. Time of day makes a difference. The band makes a difference. And over time, you will learn what bands you want to chase, where you're going to get your best activity, where the best CW contacts are going to be coming in from. If you want DX, that's another video. It talks about the DX entities. United States is a entity. Canada is a entity. Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Alaska are entities. But Germany, France, Chile, Barbados, those are all entities. Those are all DXCC type countries. So when you hear the word entity, sometimes relate it to the state or country. Again, Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico are separate entities. Now, let's talk about, for those of you that are looking, worked all states. You will find in the POTA page on the awards section, it'll show you there's 51. 51 represents DC being a wild card. DC being a wild card. So that you can work 49 and you've got, and we're going to use the standard, Hawaii is the last one in DC. You finally worked DC. When you work DC, guess what? You just got your worked all states after they upload their log, of course. But you still can go and work Hawaii again and get what I for myself call a full 51 worked all states. That is a wild card only. It could be used for any state that you're missing. That would give you number 50. For those of you that like to chase the Canadian worked all provinces, there's 10 provinces. It's not as easy as you think because of the weather elements. 10 provinces. The territories do not count. So at present, you have 10 provinces to get worked all provinces in Canada. And I could go on for another hour about the different levels that you're going to achieve in your awards, your bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, and so forth. This is where if you will go on the page that allows you to see who's on frequency, go to the very bottom of it, and you're going to see parksontheair.com. Click on it. When you click on that link, a green screen is going to come up. You're going to see a section that says awards. If you click on that awards, that's going to list your awards and a brief description of basically what they are and how you achieve it and what your steps are. But anytime you see a new award pop up, or you're going to earn them whether you realize it or not. We appreciate you taking the time. I'm sorry if this video seems rushed, but there's just so much that Parks on the Air community as a whole is having fun on the radio, and so much information. And a month from now, you'll look back and say, I didn't know that. And that's how we learn together. It's not anybody being better than the next person. We're all the same in the hobby. And what we do, how we talk on the air, represents our community in amateur radio with Parks on the Air, folks. So may God bless. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I will try to answer them. I am nobody of any authority or any professionalism. My videos are strictly raw. If you don't like raw, don't watch them. If you don't mind it being reel to reel, just like it is, one-on-one, then feel free to share it with somebody, tell somebody else about it. But we appreciate you. May God bless. November, Charlie 4XL, Lima, NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. Oh, I'm not. Just Dom, the darling old man in North Carolina. 70 trees.